Hey, it's Mary Beth from StencilGirl Products. We've got a new thing here that I'm kind of excited about, and I want to show you how I'm using it, and then you can see whether it might suit any of your needs or not. But anyway, so it's a stencil that is a mixed font stencil. We have some other ones. There's numbers, and then there's one with Times New Roman. But anyway, you get the stencil and then you get the dropout letters. That's what we call guts here at StencilGirl. And I want to show you one way you can use these in your work because I think that they're pretty cool. I made this little watercolor sheet, and you might be thinking, well, what are you going to do with that? Well, I'm going to probably just cut it up and use parts in collage because that's what I do. But you may have some completely different idea. But it's fun is the main thing. It's fun, and I want to show you how we do it. So let's get started. All right, so you take your stencil, and I happen to conveniently have a 9x12 watercolor pad here, inexpensive watercolor paper. So I can just sit my stencil right against there and it butts up against the top. And then I trace the letters. Now, it's nice to use a pen that's somewhat water resistant, or you can use a pencil. You can use whatever you want. I like these pens, these Pentel Energels. It's a liquid gel ink. I like it because it's smooth, like baby butt smooth. And it is the best pen. And it's supposed to be permanent, but it does bleed out if you hit it like right after you've done it. Just the tiniest bit. And I personally love that look. So for me, it's the perfect pen. Now, I'm not going to do this whole thing because you would be bored to tears watching it. But what I would do is just basically trace the letters. And that's easy peasy to do. This is kind of soothing work, you know. For me, in these times when we have a lot of stuff going on, and you all know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to talk any more about it, but there's a lot of stuff going on. I find that self-soothing behavior is what I like to do. For me, self-soothing, other than eating chocolate, is making art. And especially I have enjoyed watercolors lately. So this is just an example. I'm not going to finish the whole thing. You figured it out, I'm sure. All right, so you get it all traced, and then I've got some watercolor tins here. These are my precious handmade watercolors that I've bought from a variety of people. Wild Thorn, Case for Making, and Tracy Batista primarily. And then these are my cores, which I love. I love this little baby set from Cores. Now the cores, I start by spraying them. The handmade watercolors, you don't typically start by spraying those. They're just a little bit different than normal. So I just put some water in the ones I want to use. And, you know, let's start with a fluorescent because why not? So all I do is grab a little bit of the paint and I just paint them like they're a little coloring book for watercolor. You need kind of a little baby brush for this. And then I like to go back in and add a little water and sort of pull it out. And that's when you get the bleed. See that happening there? Isn't that cool? It almost creates a little shadow effect in and of itself. There I went outside the lines. Am I concerned? No, I am not. So it's just a really nice little soothing way to amuse yourself. And, you know, sometimes I do this when my husband's reading and maybe I'm watching some crazy TV or something kind of brainless. And I will amuse myself with this, and it's just delightful to do. Let's get some of this core in here. The core is so strongly pigmented. I find that I do need to use more water with it. Look at that. I mean, I barely had a droplet of the paint, and I can spread it all over. So this is one thing that you can do with the stencil. I'm sure you have a bunch of other ideas because I know I do too, but I think it's just fun to create a little watercolor sampler, right? Like in the old days when we used to do stitching samplers. I mean, sweet. And then to get this grunged look like I have on here, all I did was just hit it with a little bit of spray. That's it. Easy, right? Okay, so let's set that aside, and then I'll show you how you might want to use the guts. When have you ever said that before? I'll show you how we're going to use the guts, baby. All right, let's take a look. So these, all you need for this is your gel plate and some inexpensive craft paints, whatever color you would like to use for the guts. Here they are. And when you take them out, they're just those letters, right? I mean, they're so cool. These are made of, you know, the same Mylar, the stencil, obviously. So they're pretty darn sturdy. And like, let's say you wanted to actually use this physical bee in a product. You could do that. You could put alcohol ink on it. You could paint it, whatever. But I like to use them as little masks for gel plate printing. Now, it's a letter. So if you put it like this and then print it, you're going to get a backwards bee, right? So you have to put it backwards on the gel plate. So this is the hardest part of the thing, is remembering to do it backwards. Okay, that's an L. I think I got the guts that actually go with the other set by accident, but you can figure it out because you're all smart. You're all smart. Okay, this is like, seriously, I have to go, okay, Q, that's the right way. This is the wrong way. I mean, it's how I am, people. Keeping it real here. Sometimes I like to overlap them, like they just sort of tumbled on top of each other. So I think that's a good enough sampling of them to give you an idea. Next thing you do is just put a little bit of paint out right on top of, these are actually called masks or guts, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to use 3 colors here. I'm going to use this little baby brayer. Just kind of brayer it out over top. I don't want it all blended up, just a little bit of color here and there. If it blends, it's okay. If it doesn't, that's okay. There's a little piece of putz on there. All right. So now all you do is take a piece of paper. This is just right out of my printer, nothing fancy. Just put it down. And look at that. How cool is that? See how, because you've got a little thickness that you put on the plate, it kind of blocks that out. It masks it so you get the white from the underneath. And I love that look. Love, love, love. Since you're on a gel plate, you can pull some different paint colors in. So you could add some great quinacridone nickel azo gold along with this pink. I love how these 2 colors blend up together. They're just super pretty together. Now, I've already kind of gunked up this page, so I might as well use it as my cleaning page. And then let's just grab another one. I'm sure you've already figured out by now that you could make words, and you could just do whatever you want. A lot of different fun options on here. I try to take advantage of the paint and get as much to come off as I can. Like, look at those little overprints. Love, love, love. So hopefully you enjoyed this little demo of how you might use the stencil and the guts. Thank you for watching.